Scientists just fed decades of sperm whale recordings into an artificial intelligence system designed to crack encrypted languages. And when the algorithm finished processing 9,000 audio files collected from the Caribbean Sea, what emerged on the screens at MIT's Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Laboratory made the entire research team go silent. Not random clicks, not simple animal sounds, a phonetic alphabet, vowels, diphthongs, structured combinatorial communication patterns that looked exactly like the building blocks of human language. And Dr. Pratyusha Sharma, staring at the visualization, whispered what everyone in the room was thinking. This isn't supposed to be possible. Share this with everyone you know, because Project SETI, the Cetacean Translation Initiative, has just discovered that sperm whales possess a communication system so sophisticated, so structured, so eerily similar to human speech, that it forces scientists to completely reconsider what separates us from the rest of the animal kingdom. And what the AI revealed about how whales talk to each other rewrites everything we believed about intelligence, language, and consciousness in the ocean. Before we break down what the phonetic alphabet actually contains and why researchers believe whales might be debating complex ideas in the darkness a mile beneath the surface, subscribe to Vault of Discovery. The story begins 7 years ago at Harvard University's Radcliffe Institute. Marine biologist David Gruber was sitting in his office, listening to sperm whale recordings he'd collected while studying jellyfish in the Caribbean. The clicks sounded like underwater jackhammers, rapid-fire bursts of sound that sperm whales use to communicate with their families deep in the ocean. Across the hall, MIT cryptographer Shafi Goldwer heard the strange clicking noises. She stopped, walked into Gruber's office, and said something that changed everything. "That sounds like Morse code. Have you tried using machine learning to decode it?" Gruber hadn't. Nobody had. Sperm whales were known to vocalize, but their communication was considered simple, binary, nothing approaching the complexity of human language. But Goldwasser specialized in breaking encrypted codes, and to her trained ear, those whale clicks weren't random. They had structure, patterns, rules. What nobody anticipated was how quickly the idea would snowball. Goldwasser introduced Gruber to Michael Bronstein, an artificial intelligence researcher who explained how deep learning technologies were being used to create large language models like ChatGPT. The same algorithms that translate human languages could theoretically work on whale communication, but only if researchers could gather massive amounts of training data. In 2020, Project SETI was born. Funded by the TED Audacious Project, with partnerships from MIT, Harvard, UC Berkeley, and over 15 institutions, the team set up a research station in Dominica, a Caribbean island where sperm whales gather in family groups that have been studied for decades. And here's the first shocking twist about what researchers discovered when they started recording. Sperm whales don't sing like humpbacks. They click. Rapid sequences of clicks called codas that range from 3 to 40 clicks long. Before Project SETI, scientists knew about 21 different codas. The assumption was that each coda meant something simple, maybe danger, or food, or follow me. But when MIT researchers fed 9,000 recordings into machine learning algorithms, the AI found something nobody expected. The whales weren't using 21 codas. They were using 156 distinct codas. And those codas weren't simple signals. They had internal structure, tempo variations, rhythm changes, extra clicks added as ornamentation. The AI identified what researchers now call the sperm whale phonetic alphabet. Think about what this actually means. Human language works by combining a finite set of sounds, phonemes, into infinite combinations following grammatical rules. We take 44 sounds in English and build millions of words, sentences, ideas. The sperm whale alphabet operates the same way. Finite building blocks, infinite combinatorial possibilities. Our results show there is much more complexity than previously believed, Dr. Daniela Roos from MIT told reporters. This is challenging the current state-of-the-art of beliefs about the animal world. But the second devastating revelation came when linguist Gaspar Begusch at UC Berkeley analyzed the acoustic properties of individual whale clicks. He discovered something that made him question everything linguistics had taught him about what makes human language unique: vowels. The whales were producing vowel sounds, specifically an ah vowel, like the ah in father, and an I vowel, like the E in see. And they were producing diphthongs, gliding combinations of vowels like the oi in boy. Read that again. Sperm whales, living in total darkness a mile beneath the ocean surface, have independently evolved vocal structures that mirror the defining features of human speech. Vowels are what separate human language from almost all animal communication. Birds chirp, dogs bark. But humans modulate airflow through vocal tracts to create precise frequency patterns we call vowels. And now sperm whales are doing the exact same thing with clicks. In the past, researchers thought of whale communication as a kind of Morse code, Begusch explained. However, this paper shows that their calls are more like very, very slow vowels. This suggests a complexity that approaches human language. Think about how violently this contradicts what we've believed for decades. Human language was supposed to be unique, the one thing that separated us from every other species on Earth. Scientists argued that our capacity for complex grammar, for symbolic thought, for combining finite elements into infinite meaning, that was human exceptionalism. That was why we built civilizations while other animals lived by instinct. The sperm whale alphabet destroys that argument completely. And here's where the discovery becomes truly unsettling. Whales don't just have vowels and phonetic building blocks. They use them contextually. The same whale will produce different codas depending on who they're talking to, what behavior they're engaged in, and what's happening around them. That's pragmatics, that's grammar, that's language. Shane Jarrow, a biologist who spent 13 years studying sperm whales in Dominica, describes watching whale families interact. It's hard not to see cousins playing while chatting, to not see moms hand over to a babysitter and exchange a few words before walking out the door, so to speak, to go eat in the deep ocean. The exchanges can last an hour, multiple whales clicking and responding to each other in overlapping sequences. It's not rude in sperm whale society to talk at the same time, Jarrow notes. The conversations have turn-taking, they have rhythm, they have what looks exactly like dialogue. But the third twist changes everything about what these conversations might actually contain. Because sperm whales have the largest brains of any animal on Earth, larger than elephants, larger than humans, 6 times heavier than human brains. And they live in matrilineal family groups with complex social structures, cultural traditions passed down through generations, and coordinated hunting behaviors in the pitch-black deep sea that require sophisticated communication. What are they talking about? Nobody knows yet. Project SETI hasn't translated a single coda into meaning. The AI can identify structure, it can map the alphabet, catalog the vowels, track who's speaking to whom. But meaning requires understanding context. It requires matching specific vocalizations to specific behaviors observed in the wild. That's the next phase. Researchers are deploying advanced biologgers, suction cup devices that attach to whales and record high-fidelity audio while tracking depth, temperature, movement, and GPS location. The tags use 3 synchronized microphones to distinguish between individual whales and capture conversations from multiple animals simultaneously. The dataset they're building is staggering. Hundreds of hours of recordings from identifiable individuals across multiple family groups. Behavioral observations matching specific codas to specific actions. Environmental data showing what's happening when particular communications occur. And then the final, game-changing truth emerged about why this matters beyond pure scientific curiosity. In the 1960s, when researchers Roger Payne and Scott McVeigh discovered that humpback whales sing complex songs, their work sparked the Save the Whales movement. Public awareness of whale intelligence led directly to the Marine Mammal Protection Act. Humpback and gray whale populations, on the brink of extinction, began recovering. Project SETI believes that proving sperm whales have language could trigger an even bigger shift in how humans treat these animals. When we can talk about whales and how important their grandmothers are, or how important being a good neighbor is, or the importance of cultural diversity in society, that really resonates with people, Jero explains. But there's something darker underneath that optimism. Because if sperm whales have language, if they're capable of complex thought, cultural transmission, emotional depth, then what does that make commercial whaling? What does it make ship strikes that kill whales? What does it make ocean noise pollution that disrupts their communication? Legal scholars are already asking whether decoding whale language creates obligations under animal rights law. If we can prove whales discuss ideas, make decisions, maintain relationships through linguistic exchange, do they deserve legal personhood? Do they have rights? David Gruber addressed the implications directly. Little by little, the sperm whales are divulging their secrets of how they're communicating to us. Roger's research highlights the impact science can have on society. His finding that whales sing led to the Marine Mammal Protection Act and helped save several whale species from extinction. One thing is absolutely certain. If Project SETI succeeds in fully translating whale language, what will we discover when we finally understand what they've been saying to each other for millions of years beneath the waves? What if the first complete sentence decoded reveals whales discussing human ships, pollution, or their dying ocean? What if they've been warning each other about us this entire time? And what happens when the AI translates a mother whale, teaching her calf about the world? Will we finally recognize them as conscious beings deserving legal rights and protection? If whales truly possess language as complex as ours, does that mean every whale killed by commercial fishing or struck by cargo ships represents not just an animal death, but something closer to murder? The alphabet has been found, the vowels identified, the structure mapped. But when researchers finally crack the code and whales speak to us in words we can understand, will humanity be ready to hear what they have to say? Stay tuned.